So over and over in the Bible, God says over 350 times, don't be afraid. It's repeated over and over. Mark chapter 5, 3 through 6 says, don't be afraid and have faith. You know, even if you're an atheist, you should be able to relate to this. I'm not an atheist whatsoever, but you should be able to relate to don't be afraid. And what I'm trying to get to is, you ever notice if you want to start something, if you want to start a business, if you want to set a goal, if you want to become an athlete, whatever you want to do, when you first go to start out, your mind automatically becomes flooded with all of these things, for the most part, why you shouldn't do it, or how hard it's going to be, or it could just be anything, basically negative. Now, yeah, you will think about the positives. You'll say to yourself, I like the money and freedom and this and that. But for the most part, an overwhelming majority of those thoughts are going to be negative. And this is fear. This is a weapon, and this is a weapon and a tactic. And it's the biggest weapon that the devil uses against men and women on the entire planet. Fear. Right? Fear to start a business. Fear to get into a relationship. Fear to have friends. Fears, it could be anything. And most of the time, in your mind, it's hypotheticals in your own mind that aren't even true. And it's so important not to be afraid. I always like to use sports as an example. You see these football players, or you see MMA fighters, or you see boxers. And I'm not saying all of them are afraid, because I'm not afraid of physical contact. But a lot of times you're going to have some fear or anxiety or nervousness, and they overcome that fear and anxiety and nervousness, whether it's through their training, or they just say, F it, this is what I'm put here to do, and I'm just going to deal with these emotions, and that's why they're successful. And it's a crippling tool that the devil uses to steal your life from you. If you're afraid to start anything, you're just trapped in this. You're just trapped. You're not in prison, but you're in a prison. So you cannot be afraid. Do not be afraid. Have faith. Take a leap. Start that business. It's not going to be easy. It's never going to be easy. Nothing worthwhile is ever easy. It's just not. That's how it goes. It's supposed to be challenging, and those challenges, they mold you and they sculpt you into the person that you are and the strength that you need to get through the things that you have to go through. One of the big things now in 2023 is, how tall everybody is. You got to be 6'5", like the Tates and Waller. It's just a marketing tool that these guys use to make you feel incompetent. So I'm going to give you a perfect example why height doesn't mean anything. For all you guys or women that don't know, Muggsy Bogues, he was a basketball player. He was a point guard. He was 5'3". He was a first-round draft pick. Do you think this man let height get in his way? It didn't stop him from what he was doing. He took his greatest weakness. He worked with what God gave him, and he turned his greatest weakness into his greatest strength. And what I mean by that is, if you're that short and you're playing basketball in the NBA, you have to make all your other skills so, you got to sharpen all your other skills to where you're just an expert. So height doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. The next thing we're going to talk about is looks. You gotta be, you gotta look like Brad Pitt, or you gotta be a supermodel. Not true whatsoever. I'm going to talk about an actor. His name is Vincent Schiavelli. I hope I pronounced that right. Schiavelli, Vincent Schiavelli, an American actor noted for his work on stage, screen, and TV, he's described as an instantly recognizable, sad-faced actor. You know, he was diagnosed with Marfan syndrome as a child. Did he let his looks stop him? He overcame his fear to create a career in a life, and he didn't just create a career, you know, like a normal job. He's a Hollywood star. He's a Hollywood actor. If you would have kept listening to those negative thoughts in his mind that the devil plants in your mind, he wouldn't have blossomed into, you know, he would have just had a normal life for the most part. And he would have thought to himself, oh, I'm too ugly, you know, I'll never get on TV, I'm not a model. And look at that his unique face, the face that God gave him, blossomed into this wonderful career, a wonderful life. And the next person I'm going to talk about, you know, which he needs no introduction, is Danny DeVito. The man's 4'11". He's not the most physically gifted person. I mean, like, he's 4'11", but you know, he's not exactly in shape, right? You wouldn't say, oh, Danny DeVito, he takes, you know. Look, he's short. He's a decent looking guy. I mean, compared to what today's body standards are, you wouldn't consider him attractive, right? Did he let that fear stop him? Did he say, I'm 4'11"? I mean, come on. He's 4'11". That's like 1% of the men on the planet that are that short. I don't care about any of that. Did that stop him from, you know, creating this wonderful life that he had? Creating what a career that he had. He can go anywhere in the world as he's recognized. Not because he's short or this. He's recognized as a serious actor. As a person that is, you know, very respected in his field. So everything that they do, you know, on commercials and all these social media influencers, is to make you feel like you're inadequate. And most of the time they do that because they're trying to sell you something or get your money. That's a bunch of garbage. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. I don't care if you're 6'7" or you're 4'4". There's nothing wrong with you. You know, of course it helps. I mean, who doesn't want to be 6'4"? Who doesn't want to be the best looking guy on the planet? Who doesn't want to be ripped to the bone like, you know, you see in magazines? But for the most part, that's not reality. That's not life. And you got to work what God gave you, and you cannot let fear paralyze you. Fear is the devil, Satan, whoever you want to call him, biggest weapon to cripple you so you don't lead the life that you deserve. It's a weapon. It's his greatest weapon. Let me just make sure of the verse that I'm telling you about. I just want to make sure I'm saying it right. Mark chapter 5, verse 3 through 6. Don't be afraid, just believe. That's my message. Don't be afraid, just believe in yourself. Believe. You know, we're going to just put money off to the side. Everybody needs more money. So let's not even talk about money. Everybody needs more money. I get it, but forget that. We're talking about things that the world does and that the devil does to make you feel insecure so you don't live the life and the dreams that you want to live. So he'll attack your looks. He'll attack your body. He'll make you feel inadequate. He'll tell you don't talk right. He'll tell you don't speak right. He'll tell you you won't be accepted. You have to overcome these fears and do what your heart of hearts tells you to do to have the life that you want to live. You don't need to pay anybody to tell you what you're good at. It's like, oh, you want to pay all these gurus. They don't even know you. How are they going to tell you, you know, what you're good at? It's the stupidest thing in the... come on, people. I know everybody's trying to look for an answer. You know, that might make you feel better for 5 minutes. Like, oh, I went to this conference and I spent $5,000 and he told me this. Look, everybody knows the basics, right? We should all be somewhat in shape. We should all try to eat our best. I love food. And I got to work my butt off to be in some kind of shape because I enjoy food. I mean, it's that simple. I don't want to walk around with a gallon of water and just eat salad all day. I don't want to do that. I mean, I'm not going to eat fast food all the time, but I don't want to. I don't want to live like that. So I got to really put some work in. I'm not saying I look great, but you get it. You know, your looks. You know how much, as long as you're clean, and as long as you're clean, you don't smoke, drugs don't help the situation either. Like, we all know the basics. You need to work out. You should drink. I don't drink, but you should. If you want to have a drink moderately on a weekend or something. Obviously, we shouldn't do drugs. None of us. I don't believe in drugs. I don't think that. I'd rather be sober and unhappy than happy and not be sober. You know, I'd rather just deal with life sober than those other things. So all the basic things, you don't need to pay $5 or $10,000 for somebody to tell you, oh, you need to be in shape. You know, the Tate's and Waller's biggest thing is you need to be in shape. Okay, great. We all know that. You're paying these gurus all this money to tell you what you already know. Number one, most important thing, you got to have great hygiene. There's no excuse for being dirty. Zero. Hygiene. Be in some kind of shape. Don't smoke cigarettes on. It's disgusting. I can't even be around. It's disgusting. Right? Just the basic things, and you can succeed. Even if you don't do those things. I mean, there's plenty of people, succeed, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, and they live a horrible lifestyle. But they overcame their fear. So let's go back on that topic. Don't be afraid. Have faith. Believe in your ability. You don't need anybody's approval of your ability. Like, I'm not saying you walk around and be arrogant and you don't ask for people's help. Like, if you're an athlete, if you're an actor, if you're trying to write a book or whatever it is I'm talking about extraordinary dreams, extraordinary things. Look, I have a regular job. I'm not saying that just getting up and going to work every day is not. Look, that's not what I mean. I'm saying if you have an extraordinary goal, a dream that's not common, right? You're going to have all these negative thoughts to flow into your mind. You got to believe. Right? You got to believe in yourself. That inner voice, where when the whole world doesn't believe in you and they just written you off, you got to overcome those fears and anxieties and stick to the plan and have faith. Remember, the enemy or Satan or the devil's biggest tool to get you to live an unhappy life is fear.